Peace is a lie. There is only passion.
Through passion, I gain strength.
Through strength, I gain power.
Through power, I gain victory.
Through victory, my chains are broken.
The Force shall free me.
Right. So,
this is what we've been told is the Sith code.
it's kind of our first clue at our topic of the day, because, well, none of that sounds evil. It just kind of sounds enlightening. They're just looking for a way to get better in their own self, you know what I mean?
The Jedi are all about control and all about, categorizing things, putting it into little boxes. Yeah. So, it seems to me that from what we've seen on screen, the Sith are a lot more, fluid in the way they teach and the way they practice it. I think that, an easy comparison would be like Jedi are more similar to Zen Buddhists, whereas the Sith seem a little more like Taoists. So,
I mean, on the converse side, there's going to be a lot of people that are just like, yeah, the Sith are evil, look at the movies, blah, blah, blah. That was one guy training one guy, training one guy, training one guy, down a line from one very corrupt Sith.
Yeah, so basically you start out with one guy that's kind of an asshole, and of course all of his students are going to be like super imbalanced as well. I mean, it just, that's how it works.
We are talking about Emperor Palpatine.
Yes. Darth Shittiest. He was also, really successful villain. Like,
oh, yeah.
A lot of his plans actually came to fruition, so that's one of the things that I enjoyed about him. But, he was deliciously evil. Like, he was so annoying. He was almost, kind of foppish in his evilness. So.
Did you really say delicious?
Yes. He talked about the balance of the Force. He talked about how the Jedi only teach one half of what the Force is and how to, use and manipulate one half. And that's certainly true from everything else we've seen about the Jedi.
I mean, a lot of people don't know is the Sith were just cast out Jedi originally. Even the name Sith was not chosen by them. It has nothing to do with the race. It was a derogatory term used for Jedi acolytes that couldn't
Was it
act.
something like traitor or something like that?
Yeah, it was basically fuck you, you can't follow our rules, get the fuck out.
And then, at some point it sounds like they just kind of embraced that and they're like, yeah, I'll call myself a Sith. Yeah, screw you guys.
Yeah.
So.
And then they ended up fucking landing on Korriban and... Okay, Palpatine. An evil Sith.
Oh, yes.
Blatantly evil Sith. Now, we're talking about the fact that Sith are not inherently evil. Let's talk about...
Right. Before we get into that, though, I actually want to say something about... I want to talk about something about Palpatine first, though, because, that's what I was trying to get to, is that, he talked about a lot of these, the principles of, balancing light and dark and all that, and that sounded great. But when it came to the practice, he clearly favored the dark side. So he was, despite his rhetoric, he was completely imbalanced. And so, of course, every one of his students was imbalanced. So, go.
But, he never blatantly states it. It's very heavily insinuated. His master, which we can only assume was Darth Plagueis, was
they might as well have put it up there.
Yeah, they might as well. Yeah, it might as well have been on the jumbotron.
And when he was talking about Plagueis, you could see that it was very personal to him.
Yeah.
Ian McDiarmid is a great actor, and he really put a lot into that, and you could tell that, yeah, that made me want to see that backstory.
Oh yeah, that's a fan film I want to make.
Yeah.
But Plagueis, the whole idea of Plagueis, we can only assume from what he told us that he was just this fucking dapper gentleman that just kind of understood, studied, taught, and embraced both sides of the Force.
Right, and the fact that the way Sidious talks about him, he mentions that he was called Darth Plagueis the Wise, and something about the way he said that made me think that it was not he called himself that. I think he really was known by that. He was a reputable Sith.
I'm sure that name wasn't given to him by a Sith. He didn't choose that name. It was given to him by somebody.
It seems like a...
I mean, fuck, I'm sure the Jedi called him Plagueis the Wise.
I would not doubt it. And again, this is speculation, but that's just the impression that I got from the way that, Palpatine was talking, so...
I mean, the way he was talking, he seems like the kind of guy that if somebody needed something done, he didn't want to do it, but he was wise enough to know when it helped him.
Oh, but Palpatine was evil. How can you trust anything he said? Because he also told the truth a lot. The Jedi, we've seen the Jedi lie all over the place, especially Obi-Wan. And, that was a big topic of debate when the first the new trilogy came out. Yeah. But the thing is that, like, even in, the original trilogy, we see him lying outright, several times. And getting caught at it.
At least Ben was, comical.
Oh, no, I love him, but he was a big fat liar.
Oh, no, fucking...
But, I mean,
all of his lies were
honestly, what is the Jedi mind trick? You're twisting someone else's thoughts for your own gain, whatever it is. Even if that is a righteous gain, it's still for your own gain. So, that seems like an evil thing to me.
Okay, with the only situation that they showed it in, tell me how that's righteous. I mean, I'm not saying you think it's righteous.
Not the only one. No, remember in the one in the club, with the death stick bullshit, that was stupid.
There were, but I mean...
That was ridiculous. That was cartoony and I didn't like it.
True story. Yeah. With these are not the droids who look. Tell me how that was right. I've had so many people, I've had the same discussion with, and they were just straight up, that was a good thing to do. He was doing it for, he was doing it for a good reason. Selfishness. He did not want to go to jail. He did not want fucking Luke to go to jail. He did not want his new droid friends to go to jail. He did not want to fucking be beaten, broken, and imprisoned.
But he was protecting his friend Luke. A guy walks into a bar and someone's walking out without a hand. I hope they do more of that in like the new series, The Rebels. I think that one's gonna be good. So.
Anyway, we brought up the expanded universe.
Yes.
I did a little bit of research.
Good.
On a few.
Famous Sith?
Yeah, some famous Sith throughout the expanded universe that were not evil. I mean, some of these Sith even blatantly said that most Sith cultures and ideas were just wrong. A quote from one of the expanded universe books is, "These Sith were conquerors in search of mastery over life itself, not genocidal maniacs."
That is a good quote. Who was it that said that?
It was one of the books that I was looking up just random information in. I don't remember who's. If you guys know, let us know.
We need a research guy.
Yeah. But let's see. Dark Lord of the Sith, Darth Plagueis, retained the principles and ethical standings of his previous existence. With that foundation, he avoided the trappings of the Sith who preceded him. He was never motivated by galactic domination or an all-consuming hatred of the Jedi, and he instead chose to live the remainder of his days luxuriously in the company of his loved ones. So he did some shit, found a way to make himself wealthy, powerful, and happy, and then spent it with his fucking family.
Yeah.
Never hated the Jedi, never tried to kill the Jedi.
Yeah, that really doesn't sound evil to me, so. I mean, self-serving, sure.
However, but he was a ruthless individual, a partially connected man. It partially connected his background to being a businessman. He was ruthless because he was in business. I mean, fucking look at humanity. What businessman do you know that's successful that wasn't ruthless?
Yeah.
Does that make them evil? Not really.
It's a debatable point, honestly.
It's a debatable point.
Yeah.
But that also goes back to his selfishness and self-upbringing.
Yeah.
Evil. Darth Gravid. He believed that there was room for only the light side of the Force, or not only, but he believed that there was room for the light side of the Force, compassion. That changes everything.
Yeah. I was like, wait.
If there was an only in there, ooh. Yeah. Anyway, he believed that there was room for the light side, such as compassion, altruism, in the Sith Order. However, he did go nuts trying to figure out a way to save the Sith and kind of influence that use the light side of the Force also thing. He went crazy. And all of his teachings and relics, and he was killed by his apprentice. Everything was destroyed, he was killed.
Some of that seems to fly in the face a little bit of what Palpatine told Anakin in the third episode, though, about how it was the Sith believe in balance.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it could just prove that, Palpatine was lying, but I don't think so.
But before he was destroyed, he destroyed a shit ton of Sith relics, holocrons, just all of these Sith relics that were inherently evil in and of itself, to kind of make a point that the order of the Sith, the taking the Sith and making it a religion, kind of like Catholicism.
Yeah.
Like,
okay. Yeah. Like, okay, so basically, yeah, it sounds like, you know, he was a little bit irritated that they took something that is a basic system of beliefs, you know, like what happened with Taoism, and now it's got like this big weird pantheon of like, you know, whatever, is like, it's not the same thing anymore.
Yeah. Revan was a Sith that aided the Jedi due to a memory wipe. While it was due to a memory wipe, he knew he was a Sith. He knew what he had done. The only thing he didn't know was why he was helping them.
Okay.
Revan was a Jedi and turned to the dark side and became a Sith Master. This was self-proclaimed by Revan and took Darth Malak as his apprentice.
Okay.
After being injured, the Jedi took the opportunity to wipe his memories and had him believe his life was different than how it really took place. Revan was also a great fighter.
That sounds a little too Clockwork Orange for me, you know. Honestly, yeah, that also, you know, kind of pokes holes in the, oh, the Jedi are good thing, too, because that's pretty sadistic shit right there.
Whether they were doing it for a good cause, like defeating Darth Malak, which
yeah, you know what? Honestly, if you're going to do something to that extreme to someone's mind, just put a lightsaber through their heart, for crying out loud. That's just, yeah, that's cruel.
Just put the hilt up.
Speaking of cruelty, Episode 3 also had one of my most hated moments in the Star Wars universe.
Now, this is not this is a conversation we have quite frequently. This is not something that is pointing out that Sith are not evil. This is pointing out that we are over-emphasizing the goodness of Jedi. Yeah,
they're sitting there on, you know, blazing planet Mufasa or whatever, and yeah, yes. Anyway, yeah, hey, James Earl Jones. Hey, there's a connection. All right, I'm not that far off. Anyway, so they're sitting there, you know, and Anakin is sitting there with, you know, half his body, you know, torn off.
Arm, both legs.
Yeah, he is just, he looks ridiculous. Anakin's sitting there, and, you know, Obi-Wan, you know, had been giving him this whole, you know, speech about, you know, we were brothers and stuff like that. And now I felt that. I was like, that's awesome. Yeah. And then what happens to his brother? He catches on fire, and Obi-Wan walks away. Are you kidding me?
He doesn't just
that is the most sadistic thing I have ever seen in any of the Star Wars, you know, any of the movies, any of the show or anything. That is the worst thing I've ever seen.
And he didn't just walk away. He stood there and watched for a second.
Yeah.
Said nothing. And then just turned around and walked away.
Right. And rather than actually, you know, take out his lightsaber and be like, oh, you know, I hate to do this.
You were my brother. Yeah. I loved you.
Yeah.
You were the chosen one.
Or, you know, take off his freaking bathrobe and, you know, pat him out or whatever and be like, well, I put you out, but I'm not going to save you. Or then walk off. Even that wouldn't have been as bad.
Put him out. He's unconscious. Take him back to a fucking med bay. We already know Jedi can wipe minds.
Yeah.
Do that shit again.
Yeah. If he would have put him out or put him out, I would have been perfectly happy.
Not the whole mind. I'm not saying wipe all of his memories. I'm just saying just the shit with Palpatine.
Well, yeah. That relationship didn't seem all that healthy anyway. Yeah, come here and I couldn't let me touch you. Yeah. Oh, speaking of that, then like immediately after that, when we see Palpatine actually find the Anakin, who now looks like a burnt up weenie. He comes over there.
He did kind of look like a burnt hot dog, didn't he?
He did. He looked exactly like a burnt hot dog. And so Palpatine, when he comes over, he reaches down and touches his face. And it was passionate, you know, of course, you know, dark side passion, or whatever. But it seemed like genuine, like he was really concerned about Anakin. And, you know, I don't think it was just, oh, I've spent so much time, you know, fixing this hot rod, I don't want, you know, to get...
There's a scratch on my hot...
Yeah,
no, it was... Dude, somebody just crashed my hot rod and my girlfriend died.
Yeah.
Like, there was emotion in that reach.
And with Anakin, girlfriend is kind of an appropriate analogy, so...
That does kind of lead us into more...
Yes, it does. Amidala. I love the character. Like, she's great. She's fun. You know, Natalie Portman's an awesome actress, and she's
cute.
Tiny and cute and ridiculous, and yeah. I don't totally buy her being, you know, tough. but it's cute to watch her try. Anyway, so one of the things I remember when the new trilogy was coming out, and you know, we were just kind of getting into it, and I'm looking at Amidala, especially after the second one. I was like, are they setting her up to be a Sith witch? Basically, without her, Palpatine, none of his plans could have worked. I mean, you had her, you know, after the first movie, after spending tons of time with Jar Jar Binks, what does she do? She makes him an ambassador?
Step one, fuck.
Yeah, that's not like her just being nice. That's her being calculated, and
she's trying to piss motherfuckers off.
Yeah, and like there's this whole weirdness about like, you know, in the end, you know, when in the end of Revenge of the Sith, when we see her body being, you know, paraded around, it's like she's got the big pregnant belly, and you're like, okay, yeah, it's like,
okay,
we know that they faked that part of it. What if that wasn't really her? What if she wasn't really dead? What if that's a damn mannequin or something, you know? So she's like Elvis. I think she lives on. Anyway, but that's kind of a side point. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, Amidala. Yeah, she seemed like prime candidate to become a Sith witch, or to be revealed as a Sith witch, because she was so instrumental. I mean, one of the first things that we see her do is she institutes the vote of non-confidence of Chancellor Zod. So, you know, he gets out, and which allows Palpatine to slide right up in there, and now, you know, like literally every step of the way, she's helping Palpatine, unknowingly, maybe, but
look at what she's doing with Anakin.
Anakin is the best example of this, because, you know, this whole time, like, you know, like she targets him when he's like 8 years old, and she's like, hey, cutie, you know, flirting with him with her big crazy eyes and everything. And then, you know, years later when she runs into him again, he's like, oh, hey, you're tall and hot now. I was like, okay, well, let's see what we can do for this. And what does she do? She practically single-handedly cock teases him to the dark side with a poison pussy. She's a Sith witch.
We'll see you guys next time.